Welcome to this English lesson where I will give you a brief analysis of the short story The Green Frock. The short story is written by Charan Jit Kaur. She is one of India's younger writers in English. Her short stories and essays have appeared regularly in national dailies and in magazines and journals. This short story was published in 1993 in Separate Journeys, Short Stories by Contemporary Indian Women. Okay, let us turn to the brief analysis. The short story is set in a town in India any time during the past few decades. And then the plot summary. Taki was very poor. Biku, who was not really her husband, treated her badly and beat her up regularly. Only the beggars at the railway station were nice to her. She always had her 4-month-old daughter, Shinti, with her. One morning, somebody gave her a parcel. She thought it might be leftovers she could eat, but it was a beautiful little green dress. It shone like a river in moonlight, and had a small red border at the neck and arms. Taku had longed for such a dress when she had seen rich little girls. She wanted her Shinti too to have beautiful clothes. She took off the little girl's old clothes and put the new dress on. Suddenly she noticed how dirty the baby's face was. She had not washed it for a week because Shinti was ill. Now she washed Shinti's face under a tap. She had never known that the little girl could look so beautiful. Taku was very happy. Suddenly a big man shouted at her, "Whose child have you stolen, eh? I'll call the police." Many people gathered. Nobody believed that the well-dressed pretty baby belonged to her. They were shouting at her. Luckily, a young man who knew her came along. "I know this woman," he said. "It's her daughter, all right. But where did you steal this dress?" Taki was horrified. She picked up the baby and ran. She heard the crowd laughing behind her. She was desperate, but she wanted Shinti to have the new dress. So she covered the girl with black, slimy earth until the dress was dirty all over. She even put her dirty hand on Shinti's face. Now they would leave her in peace. Let us talk a bit about the conflicts in the story. There are 4 main conflicts in the story. The first one is the conflict between Takubai and Biku. Biku is ruining Takubai's life, and this conflict shows how miserable Takubai's life is. The next conflict is the conflict between Shinti being a burden and Shinti being the daughter. Takubai is torn between sometimes feeling that Shinti is a burden and sometimes feeling like a mother, full of love for her life, full of love for her little daughter. And this conflict shows how difficult it is to be a mother when you have to run around desperately searching for food. But it also shows that even in such a miserable situation, motherly feelings exist. Now, the third conflict is Takubai versus the ladies on the train. Thanks to a friendly policeman, she escapes the mob. And this conflict shows how little she can expect from her betters. The poor beggars treat her much better. And the last conflict, the fourth conflict that we should talk about today, is Takubai versus man at the platform. He wanted sex to begin with, but when he saw that she was not interested, he accused her of stealing the baby. And this conflict shows how Takubai becomes a helpless victim because she is poor. There are 3 turning points in this story. The first one is when she gets the green frock. The second one is when she's accused of having stolen the baby and later the frock. And the third one is when she smears her daughter with mud. And now over to the characters. The main character is Takubai. And then we have Biku, which is Takubai's man. He is violent, abusive, selfish, and he deprives Takubai of her dignity. And then we have Shinti, which is the baby. She's beautiful but frail. Further, we have the ladies on the train. They are very aggressive, and they felt that Takubai was beneath them, and they wanted her thrown off the train, and they have absolutely no sympathy for Takubai. They are probably only concerned about their own status, and they wanted to lift themselves up by pushing Takubai down. And then we have the policeman on the train. He is quite sympathetic to her and to her situation, and he probably felt sorry for her, and he tried to calm down the ladies. And the last characters that I would like to focus on are the beggars at the railway station. They are helpful and kind, and they show solidarity. Let us end this brief analysis by talking about the themes and the message. Well, the main theme in this short story is poverty. At the same time, this short story is also about abuse, solidarity, and motherhood. And one can say that the main message of this short story is that it takes more than a green frock to leave your place at the bottom of the social order. When you are down, you can expect more sympathy and help from people who are in trouble themselves than the better off people who should be in a position to help you properly.